I'm Don Morris, you're watching Bosun Dan Bushcraft, and today we're back in the bushcraft cave again, stuffed away in the back of the garage again because the weather is absolutely nasty outside. It's heavy winds and rain. I thought we were going to get a bit of snow. I was kind of in the market for a bit of snow. I like snow, me. I know a lot of people aren't too keen on it, but I do love a good bit of snowfall. Vitamin coffee. Now, the last couple of times, particularly as the weather's not really appropriate to be out in the woods, well, it is and it isn't. Let's just say when you're trying to film in the woods, it's no fun when the weather's like this. So, keeping on the theme as what we've been sort of working on for the last few indoor videos, heating and stoves really is what we've been tinkering with. Now, it is about the right time of year for a bit of heating. So, here is a bit of a crossover between a heater and a stove. Yes, it's a paraffin appliance. Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed? Dun 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 dun. Let me introduce you to this charming little chap. This is a Valor Junior, and as it says on it in proud and happy letters there, number 56. Marvellous little thing. Now this is, I know my enthusiasm for these old stoves and appliances. This actually lives next door in my gym. And it takes the chill out of the air rather substantially for me. It also has another feature that I really like about it, and that is that it is kind of stove-topped. Hey, so what I like to do with this thing, whilst I'm in the morning, weight training and the like, this big old cup here, it cools down quite quickly. So what I like to do with it is stick it on the top there, and that keeps your coffee hot whilst you're training away, because it can take me over an hour to get through that cup. Handy little thing really. It doesn't boil, or at least I've not managed to get it to boil, as in it doesn't actually make your kettle whistle or anything like that, but it does get it more than hot enough to make a brew, and you can cook on the top of it. It is particularly good at doing a nice big pot of stew, or something where you want a constant heat but you perhaps don't want it absolutely boiling the living devil out of it. Now, you could fry on it and stuff like that. It's a slow process, mind you. It's not going to be quick. So, gotta love a good classic paraffin appliance. Now, it's such a sweet little thing really, and this will be where everyone in the comments will be like, where do I get them from? How much are they? Blah, 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 blah. The answer to that is, I don't know. Usually I find these things on Marketplace. Well, my dad collects these things as well, so one or the other or both will have found these there. I know this is one he found, and I believe it was the local market. Don't quote me on that, he might have picked it up from anywhere. But we find them all over the place. This is how we usually manage to get them for a decent price. Yes, they're on the usual websites as well, but be careful, because some people have this antique idea and try and overprice them, particularly with like the hurricane lamps, where you will find the old ones and people will be selling them for 50, 60, 70, 80, ridiculous. They'll be asking stupid amounts of money. The company Pure Hand, that make the 275 baby lamp, which is my favourite lamp, that company still exists, and you can get a brand new 275 baby for around 30 quid. It'll be powder coated, whatever colour you want, everything, and it's the same as the old ones. So don't always be fooled by antiques. Yeah, an antique, there's no such thing as an antique unless it's working. This is a heater. If it hasn't got its wick, if it doesn't work, if things are broken or bent, it's worth absolutely nothing. Don't get conned into paying silly money for any of this sort of stuff. Look around. Naturally, with things like this one, they're going to be second-hand. I don't know if Valor still exists or are still making. I probably should have researched that, but I didn't. So anywho, this one's got the whole little paraffin bowl thing inside it, which is the actual heater. Apologise to anybody who wanted a bit of actual bushcraft today, but the weather sucks, so we're doing heating. If this ain't your cup of tea, feel free to skip. Just get now, this. One of the things that I think makes this particularly sweet is it has a little fuel gauge on it. Even though that little fuel gauge can be quite hard to see, what it really wants is a cleaning and a bit of black paint or something rubbing in the numbers. But it is telling us that it's only a quarter full at the moment, so better get some paraffin in it. Yeah, I don't mess about when I'm buying the fuels for these things. I usually get about 75 litres at a time. Nice 25 litre jug. This is where it turns into an art form. You can never do this without spilling it. Weren't too bad. A little bit on the towel. Where's my funnel? Alright then. I do appreciate that to some people this might seem like the most boring thing in the world, but if you've got a workshop, or you're one of the people who've got a little bushcraft area where you do your stuff, you mess with your tools and things, and you want to know how to heat it, this could be just the thing for you. And there we go, one full tank of juice. So just while we are talking about massive tubs of paraffin, someone said on one of my other videos, well, where the hell are you getting this stuff for like 70 odd p a litre? Fuel depots, like specific fuel suppliers. Please do not go online and buy pre-packed paraffin, kerosene and all of that nonsense for a stupid amount of money for 4 litres. They're asking silly money, 20 odd pound for like 4 litres. This stuff should be cheap as dirt, really. And aside from one comment I had the other week where somebody was basically saying, well, somebody basically was impolitely saying that there's a difference between kerosene and paraffin. Yeah, there is. Not for what we're doing with these things. Kerosene is heating oil. So is paraffin, really. Slight differences. One may smell a little more. Mine, they're on kerosene at the moment. They don't smell. It works in all the lamps. For what we're doing outdoors, bushcraft wise, there isn't a difference. There is not a difference. Don't go buying pre-packed nonsense. You're just encouraging people to rip you off. I get this from Stoddard's Bus Garage, which is in Cheadle in Staffordshire. This is of no use, this information, if you live in another part of the world or country, but just go on Google and find a fuel depot, people that specifically sell heating oil and things like that. You will buy it by the litre, however much you want, you will pay significantly less for it, significantly less. You really don't need to be paying anywhere near £1 a litre for this yellow gold. Yeah, you're getting ripped off if you do. This is a personal grudge of mine, but buying pre-pack nonsense, you're just encouraging companies right now. Popping back into the frame. Now, I am going to have to be quite careful lighting it here. I've got my surround sound speakers sticking out up there. Really don't want to melt it. Fully. Nice. Okie dokie. Well, that's light, this little sucker. So turn the wick up a bit. Introduce the flame. tweak it back down a touch because I don't want it going mental. It'll smoke a bit for the moment. Once it's closed up, it'll stop that. Lovely. Let it get warmed up now. So with this one, the Junior, the Valor Junior, whilst it's just getting warmed up there, this is a yellow flame heater, not a blue flame. So the flame inside there stays yellow permanently. It doesn't actually, like most paraffin heaters or Kero heaters, the flame turns blue after a while. They have like the tube system on them, sort of turbos the flame up to the point where, like a gas ring, it glows blue. So this one doesn't do that. It stays as a yellow flame. It doesn't smell any worse, to be honest with you. You don't notice any extra odor from it or anything like that. One difference with the yellow flame is they're not quite as hot as the blue flame, but then in the same breath they're also not quite as fuel hungry because of it as well. The blue flame ones, because they have that sort of a self-turboing effect and they suck their own air through. There's no mechanical parts to it. It's basically just heat rising up the tube, pulls the air through the bottom of it, and that accelerates it into that blue flame like a gas ring. On account of that though, they do drink a little bit more fuel, hence why the blue flames I've got in here have got far larger fuel tanks than this yellow flame. So while that's warming up nice over there, yeah, and I like this one because you get that lovely red glow out of the front of it. I mean, yes, it does have a red piece of glass there, but you get that lovely red glow. Starting to get that charming heat coming out the top of it now. And that is where I can stick my brew on it and keep it warm. Now, as with all of these appliances, when you first light them, you've got to let them warm up a bit. They might, at the start when you first lit them, they may give off a little bit of smoke, a little bit of fume, but let them warm up and then recheck your wick position. Generally you're going to raise your wick up to light it, and then once it's warmed up, that flame's going to grow significantly, so you're going to need to turn it back down, otherwise it smokes a bit. Basically when you first light it, keep an eye on it until it's running right. Fairly obvious really, you wouldn't just light it and abandon it. So you see it, that flame stays yellow and it gives off that lovely little glow. So it does give off a little bit of light at the same time. I think it's quite a comforting glow to me, especially on a day like today when the weather's out. Switch all the lights off, you see it all glowing away there. Yeah, that's nice and warm. So what I'm going to do now is go and get a kettle with water in it and see, A, if it does boil it, which I don't think it'll boil it to the point of making it whistle, and B, how long it takes it to get it hot enough to make a brew, because I know that it will get it hot enough to make a brew, it just won't boil it till it whistles, which is something I've found with whistle kettles. Now don't get me wrong, I like a good whistle kettle. It's a great design that it screams at you with a whistle, so you know it's not going to boil to the point of throwing water everywhere or boiling all your water away as steam, but it's it has to get it so much hotter than it needs to be to produce the amount of steam that it needs to make it whistle. So with a whistle kettle, it's actually ready for make your brew quite a little way before it starts whistling at you. So you know, you just touch the thing and go, ah, yeah, that's good enough for it. You know, you want it hot, ideally boiled, but you don't need it absolutely screaming to make yourself a coffee, do you? So there we go, grubby old giant kettle. So, and you see roughly how long it takes that to boil. This is not going to be the world's most accurate experiment, as I've just filled the kettle. I don't know, it's not like I'm doing it by cup load or anything like that. So we'll see roughly how long it takes for it to get that hot enough to make an actual brew. Right, so it's been about 20 minutes and it's more than hot enough for a brew. So let's have a go with that. Ah, like I say, it's very unlikely to take it to the point where the whistle works, because it'd have to boil, and it's not going to absolutely boil it so as it's, you know what boiling water looks like, you know what I mean. But it will get it more than hot enough for your brew. Oh, yeah, that's hot. Burnt me tongue. It's hot, that's all you need. And it would cook more than well enough. Like I say, it ain't gonna be as quick as a gas stove or something like that. But that's not the point. It means you're getting cooking and boiling your kettle for free whilst you're using it as a heater at the same time. So it's a bit of a 2 for 1. Now there are lots of other stoves that do have cooker tops on them and things like that. Wonderful things. But if you are looking for a heating appliance for your bushcraft cave or shed or greenhouse, polytunnel, anything like that, please do consider things like these old fuel heaters. It keeps them alive, it keeps them going. They have been around for a very long time, and you've probably noticed by now I like to collect these things and use them anyway. It's a bit of a touch from the past. So if you are in the market for a nice little heater, why not consider the Valor Junior? And that's all from this rainy old horrible day today from me. There's no point waffling any much more on that. It's a heater and that's pretty much all there is to it. So thank you for watching, guys. If you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing to the channel. I get a lot more views than I have subscribers, unless you think it's boring rubbish, in which case don't bother. And other than that, folks, I will catch you on the next one. So get out there, get bushcrafting. Not on a day like today. Get buying paraffin heaters and warming your spaces up. That's pretty much all I need to say, guys. So on the next one.